What's up, guys? A bit different style today. We're using our old software because our new software is all set up, ready to go in case of severe weather this afternoon. So we're going to roll on our old platform here temporarily to do this briefing. If you're just joining us unaware, we've kind of had a little bit of a ramp up in our severe threat today across the lower part of Michigan. We're going to talk about that in a bit more detail and perhaps answer some of you guys' questions as well. Pop out the chat here. We are live currently on Facebook, YouTube, and X. We are not currently live on Twitch, unfortunately, because we cannot connect our old streaming platform to Twitch. So if you guys know anybody who does watch on Twitch, get them over on Facebook, YouTube, or X as an alternative way to watch us for this particular stream. Our severe coverage stream will be live on all four platforms. All right, so if you're not currently aware, we have a slight risk now that was just introduced from the SPC. We're going to talk about that, talk about why, and also timeframes, so on and so forth. All right, let's go ahead and break this down here. So, slight risk can affect places like Mount Pleasant, Grand Rapids, Alma, Tri-City area, Flint, Lansing, Jackson, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, and Sturgis areas, all within this level 2 out of 5 slight risk there in the yellow shaded area. Around that yellow area is a marginal risk. It's a level 1, so a low end risk that extends up toward Gaylord and Alpena, down through about Adrian, over to Berrien County, up through about Muskegon or so, and then continues northward back toward Gaylord, Big Rapids area. That is your lowest risk today. Hazards, the main concern is going to be damaging winds. A 15% damaging wind threat here per the SPC. Technically speaking, it's 15 to 29%, but we're going to call it 15% risk there. In yellow, around that is what we call a 5% risk that extends again up toward Alpena, back through Adrian, Berrien County, Big Rapids areas. Other hazards today, hail. 5% risk across the board. So that means our damaging wind risk is higher than hail currently. And then for anything tornadic, there is less than a 2% chance across the state for anything tornadic today. That's good news. Should just be primarily wind and secondary of hail threat today. All right. Why are we talking about this? Why are we going live? Typically, we don't really go live for low-end risks. We went from a marginal to a slight risk here pretty quickly throughout the today, the 12:30 update per the SPC. And that is because we have quite a bit of surface fuel building, more than what was expected. Looking at the current data here, this is called mesoanalysis. This is your real-time live data. We're seeing a pocket of 1,000 plus joules of surface-based storm fuel here. When flipping this over here to the model, we only had about 500 to about 1,000 forecasted here around the same time frame here. So what I'm basically saying here is this is 3 p.m. right here, and this is the model. We only have like 100, 200, then there's about 1,000 over here by the West Michigan Lakeshore, but we have a wide swath here comparing this to the current data. We have a wide swath of right around 1,000 joules across the state, which is sufficient and more than what was forecasted. And that's why the increase of our probabilities has been increased here per the SPC. So going along that route of things, let's go ahead and talk about what to expect today and when to expect it. Future forecast models here, we're going to be looking at the HRRR. Looking at the future, here's 2 p.m., which is currently 1:30 or so. So we have about a half hour. Should be dry for the most part. Some showers up in the UP. Those should not be strong or severe up there. We go to 3 p.m. We start seeing these pop-ups try to start forming here up by Gaylord, down here by Tri-Cities, over here in the Lapeer area, Grand Rapids, down here by Berrien County. Just little popcorn type of cells that pop up. Let's go to 4 p.m. here today. A bit more organization takes place with these cells. By about 5 p.m., we have a decent looking line that is formed from Mount Pleasant down here to about Kalamazoo. But do take note, they're more scattered in nature. There's going to be areas here in the white that do not get any storms whatsoever. So it's going to be hit or miss today. Some places may not get any rain at all. Other places may get an inch or so of rain if they're lucky or unlucky, however you view that. So let's go to 6 p.m. here. That continues to push eastward across the state. Go to 7 p.m. By about 8 or so, that risk and threat should be diminished or diminishing. And by about 9 o'clock and after, it's just some lingering rain showers there across the state. But the way we have everything's set up today. Looking at the instability that's taken place, the wind shear, it's looking more so like organized line segments may try to form. What I mean by that is back here in the model, there might be a little bit of like a line, a bow echo, try and take shape here and kind of push eastward. With those bow echoes and line segments comes the risk for damaging winds. Overall, it's not looking like it's going to be overly organized. It's not going to be a huge, wind back we had the past couple of times here in March and May. This is looking more subdued, but still enough to produce some damaging wind gusts throughout. The coverage of these severe storms is expected to be greater than expected, which is why the upgrade to a slight risk was given to us by the SPC. And as we're looking at real-time data, we agree completely with it. And I have no complaints. So with that said, that is the gist. Between about 3 p.m. and about 9 p.m. across much of lower Michigan, a threat for severe weather does take place. I do think that's centered well by the SPC and the yellow area here across the south central part of the state. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. So with that said, I'll pop myself back on the and I'll take questions here if you guys have any. I say by about 3 p.m. or so would be the time frame to begin watching for pop-up cells. What's up, Cindy? Good to see you in here. Across the entire state, I can't say the entire state, across the entire risk area, damaging winds are primary concern, and then a secondary concern of a large hailstone. Could level 2 increase to level 3? That is highly unlikely, Casey. We don't have that much organization. We have enough to warrant slight risk, I would agree, but we need a large synoptic system to really get the enhanced risk to become a possibility. I don't see that today. Are we still expecting a hotter pattern toward July? I would expect late June to become a little bit warmer, more summer-like for sure. Alpha asks, do you think we get winds above 60? I think 60 is a baseline. Can we get 65? Perhaps. But there's not really much out there that says we're going to have 70 or 80 plus. There's not much that says that. I think 60, 65 is about the max. Do you think we're going to get a watch today? Caden, that is a great question. I would not be shocked if we have a severe watch or at least a watch possible discussion here per the SPC soon. If I had to guess, if you guys know the probabilities, I'd probably guess 40% watch possible statement, more than likely. I do think it's a possibility, especially for that centered around that yellow area across south and central Michigan. And yeah, going off the latest model guidance here as well, I want to emphasize that the risk does cover a majority of the state of the lower part of Michigan, at least. There are some areas that aren't not within that risk, but the entire state falls within a thunderstorm category. But on the forecasted model, they're kind of more scattered in nature. There's areas that are not going to get rain today. So you may get lucky or unlucky, again, however you view it. Some areas may miss the rain while others get slammed with an inch or so of rain. So it's going to be kind of hit or miss today. Better coverage definitely expected down here across that slight risk area from the Tri-Cities down through about Lansing over toward about Flint, Ann Arbor areas. That's where the highest coverage is expected to be. Of course, got some scattered stuff up there in the UP as well. Keep an eye on that. But overall, it's not going to be a widespread thing today. It's going to be more scattered and kind of spotty in nature. The SPC will update at 4 p.m. today. So about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Eric, the risk for anything tornadic will be quite low today. We never want to rule it out completely, but there's not really much spin in the atmosphere. So it's going to take a lot, and I mean a lot, to get a tornado to happen today. So overall, the concern for that is not very high. (3 to 9 p.m. is the time frame to watch for any severe weather. Yeah, there's a very, very small sliver over here by the Canadian border that is not within that marginal risk. But remember, with these categories and outlooks, flip it over to here. If we zoom in way down here to the bottom right corner, um, probably a severe wind within a 25-mile point. So, for the most part, even though the very far eastern half of Michigan is not technically within a risk, if you are within 25 miles of that 5% risk, technically you would be considered in that risk. It's a little technical, a little complicated, but I would not let your guard down if you're over in the Monroe, Detroit, Port Huron areas in that white zone. I would not let your guard down. I do think the risk is definitely higher off to the west there in the yellow part of the map here. But again, you're pretty close to the risk. And that goes for the other north side of this too. If you're close to it, not quite in, but close to it, keep your guard up. I'll go ahead and go over the radar here one more time. Again, this is just a forecasted radar. It's not going to be exact, precise, just a general idea of what to expect. So here's 2 p.m. current time, about 15 minutes. It's currently 1:44 p.m. Here's 2 p.m. By about 3, some pop-ups start to form, kind of scattered throughout. By 4 p.m. here, more scattered pop-ups. Here's 5 p.m. Here's 6 p.m. And notice the better coverage is definitely centered across that slight risk area where the SPC has placed it. That's where the highest concern is going to be today. Let's go to 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and then there is midnight. We should just be just some scattered rain showers at that point. So about 3 to 9 p.m. is the main time frame to watch. Yeah, this is actually this is the platform we used before we switched. So the reason I'm not on a new platform today is because that is all set up ready to go for severe weather. And to take that all down and reset it back up for a briefing, I figured it'd be a lot quicker and a lot easier because this is ramping up a little bit quicker. We want to get the word out there faster. And also, I'm working solo today. Our team is actually up in Grand Rapids for training today. So I'm actually solo currently in the studio by myself working all of our pages. So I'm a little solo today, so I'm trying to make it easier on myself. I just figured it'd be easier to use our old software to get this stream over with. And yes, this is also the platform we use for the Indiana Weather Network as well. That's why I had the background on. I can change that though. There we go. Make it easier on you guys. Anything tornadic will be very low in nature. I don't think there's going to be anything rotational wise today. Again, there's not any spin out there today. So for us to be able to get a tornado, we're going to need a lot of things to come together. That it's not impossible, but it's very, very rare we get those scenarios where we have spin ups in this environment. Of course, it's Michigan. We have other things that can happen. Absolutely. But overall, looking at the models and the ingredients, not concerned unless multiple things come together to support that. No, I do not expect this to be like May 16th or March 30th of this year. This is going to be a little bit more subdued. We haven't really had many of these days in Michigan this year. We've had 2 or 3 big days that have produced a lot of tornadoes, a lot of wind, not much hail, which is good. We haven't had many of these days that we have a little bit lower end threat, not a very high end threat, but still a threat nonetheless. This is one of the first ones we've had. So I do expect there to be a few warnings today and probably a few damage reports across the state. But this is not going to be a widespread thing like the past couple of times. Any other questions, guys? I have 2 things to shout out here. We got Axe back for another month here. That's month number 12 for Axe on the YouTube membership. Thank you, Axe, for that. Time flies, absolutely. Also, Robert back for month number 12 as well. Thank you guys for renewing your memberships and sticking with us here at Michigan Storm Chasers and being a member on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. It looks like it's snowing outside. That is the cottonwood for you. And that means allergy season is up in full swing. Not a very high concern for tornadoes today at all. Wind and hail is your primary concerns. Wind being number one, hail being number two. Anything tornadic, if we have anything tornadic today, it's going to take a lot of moving parts to get that to go. It's just not very likely today at all. Not impossible. We can never say it's impossible because it has and probably will happen again in the future. But the ingredients today are just not there for anything tornadic. Yes, we'll be live if need be here. I believe I'm going to be working solo today, so you may be stuck with me, depending on when Joel and or Drew get back from their training today. It may just be me to start out the stream. I'm not sure if they're going to chase or not, but you're stuck with me either way. So I'll be live when and if severe weather does occur. Radar is currently clear across the lower part of Michigan. I've got some showers up there in Sanilac County. Got some pop-ups trying to go up there by Alpena as well, and got some showers up in the UP as expected. So nothing out of the ordinary going on as of 2 p.m. here, or just before 2 p.m. Another hour or two, we would expect storms to get going and pose a risk for damaging wind and some large hail there. Christina, I was waiting for somebody to point that out, but yeah, I posted on the page, I think it was yesterday, about how quiet it's been, and then all of a sudden the risk goes from no risk this morning to, hey, we have a marginal, to, oh, it's a slight risk now. KCR policy is to go live when the first warning is issued, whether it's severe tornado. We'll be live as soon as that's issued. There are some events where there's like a line crossing Lake Michigan or coming up from the south from Indiana. We'll go live for that before we get severe, just so we have a live already going. Back on, I think, March 30th, we actually did that, or maybe it was May or so. But anyway, we were live about a half hour to an hour before those storms actually hit the state. Today is not going to be like that. We're going to pop these storms up. They'll probably become severe pretty quickly. But generally speaking, we'll be live at our first severe warning. We have another member coming back. Evan, month number 11. Also, Alex, back for month number 12. That is number 3. Our third person come back for month number 12. Our fourth for number 11. And also, Evan gifting 10 memberships to our YouTube member, or to our YouTube subscribers. Thank you, Evan, for that. Appreciate your support of the channel. And for those who got gifted, welcome to the team. My chat is behind. I apologize. Seeing very tall clouds west of Charlotte. Well, today is your lucky day. Not me full screen, but we actually have a Charlotte cam here. And there we go. That is on the fire department in Charlotte facing to the northwest. Not much there yet, but a little change throughout the afternoon and evening, more than likely. Well, let's take a peek around the state here. Here's Dearborn. Nice sunny skies there. Harbor Beach. Manistee. Manistee West. Ionia. Burton. And then we're back to Wolverine, and then back to Charlotte. So not much going on across the state yet, but that will change here in the next couple of hours. Casey, we do not have any cameras in Saginaw. We may have a spot in the Bay City area. Not sure yet. And yes, those cameras are all not gifted, but all provided by Guardian Technologies out of the Burton area. And also our host sites like Charlotte Fire Department, the Old Stone Porch, the Hampton Inn, all provide us with their equipment and location to help feed these cameras to us and then to you guys. So Everybody involved deserves a big round of applause. All right, any other questions, guys? Thank you, Sue, for month number 6 here. Number 7, if you count the gifted month that got me started. Thank you, Sue, for that. Appreciate your generosity as well as support of the team here. Any last questions, guys? Been live for about 22 minutes here. We're going to wrap it up, and I'm going to get ready to go live within an hour or two for some severe in the state here. So, last chance. Any questions? One last look at radar. I can do that. We can do that. So, hold on. Before I do that, make sure this isn't going to go. Okay. One last look at the future radar here. This is the forecasted radar here per the HRRR model. So let's go ahead and bring it to 2 o'clock here. There's 2 o'clock in 5 minutes. The radar should look like this. It kind of does. Got some storms up there in the UP. Got some cells trying to pop up across parts of the state. By about 3, though, we get some more pop-ups going on. Here's 4 o'clock. Here is 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and midnight. One last overview here. The slight risk is in effect here per the SPC for places from the Tri-Cities to Mount Pleasant, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Jackson, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, down toward Sturgis. Around that in dark green is a marginal level 1 risk that extends from Alpena, Roscommon, Gaylord, Port Austin. We're going to say Lapeer, Ann Arbor, Adrian, Hillsdale, Berrien County, up through about the Big Rapids area through Nuevo County, back up toward the Gaylord area. Damaging wind on your map here is your primary risk, especially for yellow areas where coverage will be greatest, but still a chance across other areas in brownish red color to the north. And then hail threat is a 5% risk there for much of the risk area. And then the risk for a tornado per the SPC is less than 2% chance of happening. Anything tornadic will have to have a lot of stuff going for it to make it work. So that is the overall synopsis. From 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. is your main time frame. We'll be live in the event of severe weather, watching real-time data. The ingredients are coming together for it. So it's going to probably be a good day for some severe weather here, or a bad day perhaps, however you want to look at it. But it's not going to be a ginormous threat. It should just be pretty scattered in nature, not widespread at all. So don't expect there to be a huge widespread statewide event. That's not what we're talking about here. It's just going to be kind of localized here in nature. Damaging winds, primary threat, large hail, secondary threat. Well, let's look at chat here. Are power outages expected? So power outages will be localized in nature to when and if storms produce damaging winds. It's possible, yes. I would say the highest coverage of storms has the best chance to produce some power outages, which is going to be in that yellow zone. $60, $65 at most, I have to guess, with the winds. It's kind of a crapshoot trying to forecast winds, but there's nothing today that really suggests anything higher than 65 or 70. Obviously, we can't predict the future, so we could get 68, 67, possible. But there's nothing here that says we're going to get 70, 80 plus mile an hour winds. It should be right around 60 or so, give or take a few miles per hour. If you missed a lot of the stream, rewind it, head back, watch it over. I covered everything I think I could cover in pretty much every detail I could. And with that said, I am going to pop out of here, and I'll catch you guys likely within the next 1 to 3 hours for some severe coverage here in Michigan. So you guys stay safe. Oh yeah, before I hop off, if you live in northern lower Michigan or the far eastern half of the UP, this area up here, circle it, your weather radios are not going to work today because they're offline for maintenance. So if you are relying on a weather radio today in that black circled zone, northern lower, far eastern UP. Do not rely on your weather radio. They are down for maintenance. It is pre-scheduled maintenance. They're doing it across the country. This was planned well in advance. They cannot change it. It'll be down until Wednesday. So if any storms do go severe up there, you will not receive alerts through your weather radio. If you have the app, the Red Cross or FEMA app, they'll still be pushed through there. We're going to be live as well, so feel free to tune back into us. It's only weather radios that are affected. All right. So if you happen to rely or know people who rely on them up there, let them know they're not going to work today due to a maintenance outage. All right. Now, with that said, I'm going to pop out of here. I did load in the outro video. So for those of you who like the outro, you're going to get the Zen music. So enjoy it. I'll catch you guys in a few hours here, likely for some severe coverage here in the state of Michigan. You guys enjoy your evening.